Hi there, James Jenkins here. This is the Propelio Academy insurance course. We are now in episode 10, Multifamily Insurance Fundamentals. It's a great time to remind you that this course is progressive, meaning it's designed to start at episode 1 and go through all the way to episode 13, I believe is how many we're doing. So if you haven't started with episode 1, then you must be feeling really confident about your knowledge in insurance, and I like your attitude. So let's jump right in. We're talking about multifamily insurance and the sources of risk there. So we're going to assume that you've already watched some of the other videos. I'm going to skip over a bunch of stuff that we covered in the other videos. So I'm just going to jump right into specific sources of risk with multifamily properties. And the reality is more tenants means more possibility for shenanigans, for stupid stuff, because as we talked about previously, tenants do dumb things. There's no way of arguing that. So for every tenant you have in your property, you're going to want to make sure that that tenant has renter's insurance for their unit specifically. And you're going to want to make sure that they add you as an additional insured, as the lessor of the premises. What that does for you is make sure that if they or their friends or visitors do stupid things that either damage your property or cause damage to an unrelated third party, that you receive the coverage of their renter's insurance liability coverage. So you're not on the hook for the dumb things that your tenants do. Also, and this is really important as we get beyond 5 units and get into condos, associations, and apartment buildings and larger multi-unit buildings, you want to make very sure that if any of the following things are present in your property, that you are paying close attention to that. If there is a common area, a mail building, a pool, playground, storage units, detached garages or carport, or anything other than the structure itself, you want to make very sure that your agent is making allowances and planning for those extra risks. Each one of those things, common area, mail building, pool, playground, storage unit, detached garage, carport, each one of them has its own specific risk that you want to make sure you are either covering for or you're saving cash reserves on the side if you don't want to have insurance cover for all of those things. And you want to make sure that the premises liability is taking into account all of that, specifically if there's a pool or a playground, because those are what are considered attractive nuisances by statute in the state of Texas, and probably your state too if you're watching from somewhere other than Texas. Attractive nuisance laws are pretty broad and they almost always favor the party that got injured. So make sure your liability coverage is extending appropriately. So you're going to also want to pay close attention to the number and the valuation of each building on the property. In most insurance companies, they will assign a specific value to each physical structure on the property. So if you've got, let's say, 40 units and each building has 10 units and there's 4 buildings, you're going to want to make sure that all 4 buildings and the values for each of them are properly accounted for on the policy. One of the things that I see on a pretty regular basis in the insurance world when I'm delivering proposals and competing against other agents, this is the one area where it's really common for agents to cut corners and not have the right number of buildings, not have the right valuation for each of the buildings, and they deliver a premium amount that you're happier with, and it's not the right coverage. You're going to want to pay close attention to that. So that's it for this episode. Again, we covered a lot of good stuff in earlier episodes that also applies to multifamily properties. You're going to want to make sure you catch the previous episodes as well. If you have questions you'd like to talk further, I would be happy to help you. Please schedule a consultation by visiting my website at jjairm.com/consultation, and you get a no cost, no sales pitch, no pressure conversation with yours truly. You just get great info and get what you need to make the right decisions. This has been the Propelio Academy insurance course. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you real soon.